Hello brothers, thanks for clicking on the link. This is Dale Flatt here. I'm past master of Onion Creek Lodge. I was master in 2009. It's now 2024, getting ahead of myself. And I am, once again, the chairman of the cemetery committee. And so this link is all about adopt a plot. The Masonic cemetery dates back to 1859. It is 6.6 acres in size. It's quite a big size. Some of it was traditional old style where we have family curbed in lots and above ground headstones. It makes it very difficult to mow and maintain. Now, this is an old country cemetery. It's not a perpetual or endowment care cemetery, meaning that the family's never paid any monies and we are not required to collect monies and put monies into a fund like it is today. But we're still operating a cemetery. This cemetery here, it's the family's responsibility to maintain their lots, and they're responsible for their headstones. The problem is a lot of the families have died off or moved away, or the families are so elderly or they're out of the area and they can no longer come and do this. The lodge has, for the last 15, 20 years that I've been a member, that I've been here, the brothers would get together a couple times a year and come out and have a big cleanup and work day. But a lot of our members are older and they can't do that anymore. So we're gonna create an adopt a plot program where there's some of us will get out here with the big equipment that we own and try to maintain the big broad areas. But we're hopeful that brothers will adopt a 20 by 20 foot plot or smaller and sign up and come out and do it once a month. Might only take about 15 minutes of your time. So we're going to walk over here to the sign and I'm going to show you the history of the site. I'm not going to read it to you. I will let you pause the video and then you can read it. It's a really interesting story. Okay, pause the video and then when you're done, we'll continue on. Welcome back. Now, the gates are normally locked. If you adopt a plot, we'll be more than happy to give you the combination so you can drive in, but normally anybody can just walk in. So once you're through the gates, there are 6 different sections of the cemetery. This area over here is section 5. This is section 6. If we come over here by the new kiosk, this is section 4 to the screen left, section 3 to the screen right, and this grass driveway here in the middle is the future area of our cremations garden. And so, yeah, as you can see, some of these, it's not like a modern cemetery where there's just rows of flat stones and it's very easy to maintain. A lot of these have concrete curbing on them, and therein lies the challenge. Here in section 6, this was developed after the other sections, and you can see there are lots that are squared. They're 10-foot squared, and there's a walkway in between and a pathway in between those. One of the things we're doing is some of these lots were like this one over here. Once the person was buried, the family, so they didn't have to maintain it, just covered it in rock. Well, over time, the rock gets grass and things growing in it, and then it starts looking like this. And so what I've done is the ones that are clearly just rock, instead of having to come out and weed eat the grass every couple of weeks, we're just killing the grass and then get back to more of a rock finish to it. You can see this large clump of grass here, and this one here is much like this stuff here. It's a native grass that's taken over, and I can cut the grass and this thing will pop up within a week and it makes it look like nothing ever happened. So we're going back and poisoning this, spraying these to stop that cycle and hopefully get it back to something that's easier to maintain. The other thing that's popped up over the years is these sandburrs. These stickers, I'm sure you've got one in your fingers and in your shoes. And they'll continue to keep on going on until we can maintain it enough to break the cycle of it going to seed, going into the ground, and then sprouting again. Occasionally we get people dumping trash on the outside. We have to haul it off or call the city. Okay, so that's section 5, 4, 3, and 6. I'm going to pause and go over to section 1 and section 2, which is our older and presents the biggest challenge. Okay, I've walked a short distance from the gate around this curved, that's section 6 there, and this area to the south is the oldest part of the cemetery. It's section 1, and I've got this divided into 3 subsections, so it's section 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. And this is what it looks like. You can say it's woefully overgrown. I've started cutting paths down through the access points so we can get into the individual lots. But this area, you'll see in some other examples, has got curbing much like some of this does. And so you cannot get in there with just a riding lawnmower and cut it down. There's a lot of low-lying stones and footstones that are protected by state law. This is considered an archaeological site. Anything 50 years or older is protected by law. You can see the big tall clumps of grass popping up here as I was showing before. And so what this takes is somebody getting in with a weed eater, somebody finding a little concreted in area. You can see here's curbing around here. And again, if you come in here with a regular lawnmower at this stage, you'll tear your machine up. You'll bend the shaft, you'll damage the blade, and you'll probably hit some headstones. So it's going to take weed eaters and things like that to get in here and knock it down and get it back to where we can maintain it. I showed you where I'd sprayed some other things. You can see here there's a tall wall and a short wall, and grass is growing in between it. I can't mow that. It had to be weed eated. So we're just going to start treating that with herbicides and treat it 2 or 3 times a year instead of having to edge it with string trimmers all the time. So I've got maps. If you're interested, let me know. Some of these areas are relatively small. Pick 1 or 2 to start with, or just that, if that's all you can do, fine. You can see this is terraced. You can't get a riding lawnmower in here. And so it's just a matter of getting in here and mowing it and getting rid of the invasives and the big clump grasses. There's common walkways here that it's real easy if somebody just wants to mow a walkway. There's a 5-foot walkway that goes across, and there's walkways running east, west, north, and south. If you just want to maintain walkways, great, I can use your help. And so, you can see the crane lot here. You can see the curbing on it. There are step downs. You have to be really careful when you're walking through here, because as you're walking, all of a sudden, boom, you drop into something or you'll trip over something. So it's a challenge. So, this crane lot is relatively small. Would take somebody with a lawnmower or weed eater, maybe 10 minutes. The Toomey lot here, a little bit bigger. All different sizes, easy enough to find something to do. And again, you're not required to come out here if it's within your cable tow. Great. Your family, of course, and your job comes first. And if you can help out, you can see this little lot here is kind of an odd shaped thing, and it only has 4 stones in it. Real simple. The Davis lot, if you took the time to pause and read the plaque, the first burial is down this way, and it's quite interesting. Let's go take a look. All right, I'm at the gravesite of John A. Davis, born March 22nd, 1835, died February 13th of 1859. He is the first burial in this cemetery. This big ledger stone on top, it's got his name engraved on it, and it's the only one like it in Travis County. It's really reminiscent of something you see in the movies of Knights Templar. His father was a Mason. Davis Lane is named after that family. He owned a lot of this property, and this is the first burial, and this whole area here became a community cemetery for the people who lived in this part of the county. Again, this wasn't in the city until probably about 79 when my neighborhood was built, which is not too far from here. And so this was an old country cemetery for the longest time that the city has just developed around. But there are lots of stories here. Stories of murder and mayhem and misadventures like John's. There's a guy over here who's a Texas Ranger. The last name is White. And he was featured in a movie just recently. And the whole family, here's the white lot here, and you can see the Texas Ranger cross here. And so there's a lot of history and other things that unfortunately, if you volunteer, you're going to get hooked like me, and you're going to learn a lot about South Austin, Austin history. Again, you can see headstones here just underneath the grass. I've mowed a path getting down this way so I can get to another family lot. As the families have interest in their lots, we start cutting paths and doing it. But currently the standard of care is to take care of the newer sections, because that's where the families are that are still active, the majority of them. And that's what's really visible from the street. I'd love to be able to keep all of this to a standard where anybody can come in and find a headstone. So this is the end of section 1 here. Again, this is the south side of the cemetery. The interstate's back this way. You'll start picking up that sound. If you're familiar with Austin at all, here's the Brodies from Brody Lane. There's the Slaughters, the Detmars. All these old South Austin names are here. So as an example, I started working here in section 2. This is section 2 from that tree line all the way back to this line here. And a lot of the families who couldn't maintain them anymore just covered them with concrete. But this took me about 2 hours. It looked like this. I have a lawnmower that uses a string trimmer instead of a blade, and took several passes and came through here very carefully, watching my step. And there's a curbing underneath my feet here. There's a curbing down this way. And there's step downs, just like I was explaining. So this is about taking time to trim up trees so I don't poke my eyes out, and open the area up. About 2 hours worth of work. Now I'm raking up all the grass. It was really tall. It was exactly like this, as you can see. And this lot here, I'm working with this family because they've got spaces available and they want to utilize them, which is an advantage to the lodge, because even though the lot belongs to the family, when they have a service here, there's a one-time fee that comes to the lodge that goes into a fund that helps cover the cost of trimming trees and gasoline and some of the other things that we have to come up with. So all the grass was raked into piles, but unfortunately it's rained after I cut it. So all this has to dry a little bit, then I'll pick it all up and I'll either create a compost bin or put it on the trailer with all of this stuff. I have Hornsby Bend is a City of Austin facility that you can dump this brush for free, and I'm sure the grass as well. But if you don't have a mower, if you can't do things like that, again, I can get you the proper tools and show you what to spray and what not to spray, and then we just come through here and kill this stuff, and then we're not having to, because if we cut it, it's just going to grow back. All right, so that's section 2. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to go around the road here, and we'll talk about section 5. All right, before I get to section 5, again, this is the east side. Sunset's in the west, and it's doing that over there. So this is the east side of section 3, and you can see that the old driveway, which is going to be our cremation garden for in-ground cremations. You can see how I've come through here, and you can see all the brown patches. There's poison ivy in here, big clump stuff. So we've just been spraying things, and then we'll come back. Big dead tree, anything with a red line on it, that tree's coming out. And this is section 3, and then section 4 here. And everything to the north of this road here is section 5. And again, there's a map at the lodge. I can give you a map. My suggestion is, if you're interested, come out and walk around and find something that looks interesting to you, and try adopting a 20 by 20 foot lot and see what you like. If you're going to come out, maybe you want to adopt 2, but take it easy at first. So this part of section 5 is still curbed here. And then this is our more modern section, and you'll find a lot of our lodge members. This is if you're a lodge member in good standing, you get a space for free, and your spouse gets a space for relatively, I think it's like $600 now. At the time of interment, there's a one-time fee that's due, but this is more like a modern memorial park. We do allow upright stones, but there are flat stones. And some of these guys in here are people that I knew, people that were coming through the lodge, were lodge officers when I came through and through the ranks. This one here's got a little bit of curving, but it's flush. And then as we come up the hill here, this is the area that we have for sale and for use by lodge members, not necessarily to the general public. And then there'll be a future road right here that's on the map. That'll come up this way, and then all this wooded area over here up to the pipeline easement. Future generations of Masons will be able to clear this out and plat it out and continue providing space for members of our lodge in the future. And so here we have, just as an example for the old timers, Terry Russell. This is Terry Russell and Larry Matthews. Terry was our lodge secretary and Larry was our lodge treasurer. They were best friends. Terry was the secretary and Larry was the treasurer, and they died a week before I assumed the role of master of the lodge, and we learned quite a bit from that experience. And then there are other people. Joe Seguin. I can walk through here and point to names of people and think, wow, I knew these guys. But that's just the way it goes. David Harden and his wife Hilda. David's still around, but he comes and faithfully takes care of his wife's gravesite. Reverend Don Long and Johnny, still with us, but they'll be here, relatively soon. And so this is more like a modern cemetery here. There's no curbing, but we still have obstacles, benches and things like that we permit. We're a little bit more flexible than modern cemeteries as far as decoration goes. And up here, the last one on our list is Gene Sanders, past master of the lodge, great guy, taught me a lot of my work. When I was master, he sat in the chair and would correct me all the time. I still smile about that. We have dirt for leveling graves and picking up things, so there's lots of tasks to do. If you find yourself with some time and are willing to help out, we would sure love your help. And I'm interested in passing along my knowledge and training that I've received over the last 20 some odd years as a cemeterian to the next generation. You never know when you're going to be called home to the Celestial Lodge. And the goal of being a responsible man is to teach the younger generation, pass along to them, and leave it in good hands when you leave. Thanks for watching.